So we'll call it to order, and any announcements, Dr. Nolte?
We do have, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Oh, Lobs,
Ooh, that's working.
way to go, Mr. Trantham.
That was not my fault.
His mic is not aired up, so I don't know where that came from.
Not my fault.
But for recording purposes, Mr. Francis, members of the board, we do have a couple general announcements just to keep you aware of a couple things before we go into closed session and do a number of personnel, legal, and closed session-like updates. The first one is obviously our community, while we have been out of school, has been struck with the flu. A lot of people we know have been diagnosed. I see one nodding, who's been taking meds and recovering. And then we tragically lost one of our students, Lacey Fisher. And so what we have been doing all along the way, primarily Mrs. Barker, who I think will join us in a moment, she is the public health information contact person. We've been keeping in touch with public health officials. They continue to tell us that we do not close school during flu season, or we would be closed literally for a long time. Flu season lasts months. We sent home, as we always do, at the beginning of the second semester. I think we actually sent this one a day or two before second semester started. We sent home precautions for parents. We post them, I actually didn't send them home. We post them on our website, gave them to the schools, asked them to post them on their websites, and we can make written paper copies available if someone needs them. The precautions from the CDC, we're monitoring the situation. I was informed by Patrick Johnson, the public health director, that Western North Carolina in general, all of Western North Carolina, is up about 160% for this time of year. We don't know what that means. We're hopeful that it means we're getting it out of the way early and it will drop off after that, but we do not know. But certainly it is a concerning time. We've had at least a couple people lose their life, and we do know that for school-age populations, if they've had the flu shot, or even if they haven't and they're otherwise healthy, they typically can get through the flu. And certainly we have neat medications out there that our medical providers can provide if we get to them pretty quickly. So any questions in general about the flu, we'll continue to monitor that. I spoke with Mr. Johnson himself a couple times. Any questions about that? We'll let you know. Typically in these situations, you do not close school unless public health tells you to, or unless you just don't have enough staff members to staff the school on a given day, and that is very rare. I don't know that that has ever happened in Haywood County schools. Any questions about the flu? A couple other general announcements related to an upcoming commissioners meeting. There's a commissioners meeting in the evening. I can't remember if that's 5 or 5:30 on Tuesday, January the 21st. I have been working very closely over the last few months with the county manager, Mr. Moorhead, and he and I have come to a consensus about a funding formula percentage. As you well know, we have been had a funding formula that gives us about a 2% increase each year, 2.1, 2.3, 2.2. Last year, or in the current year, we do not have a funding formula, but they gave us the formula, which is 2.1%, and they gave us a 1 year 1% on top of it, just to get us to the point that we could reauthorize the formula. He and I are comfortable with 2.75. We are confident that 2.5 might be not enough, in particular with our enrollment. We lost, as you all well know, over 500 students several years ago when we closed Central Elementary School and made big budget cuts. We are down about 108 students this year compared to last year. And when your students are down because of fixed cost, like power and still running the buses on the same routes and things like that, you need a pretty hefty percentage rate. If we were to gain our students back, our 500 students back, which we expect will happen with all of the development in the greater Waynesville area, Plot Creek, Allens Creek, Bilo, the current central office area, and you could have a little lower percentage. So unless something happens, we will go to the commissioners and ask them to reauthorize the 3-year funding formula at 2.75. Any questions about that? And then the other thing that we will do at the first meeting, but I will want it to be the second item on the agenda, is we have talked about for some time establishing what should the fund balance be. What should it be? We have lots of conversations about that through the years. We've had the commissioners ask us to spend the funding formula, and even when Dr. Garrett was here, we thought, well, that should be 1.5, 1.6 million, so we can make the March payroll. And in case we have any other problems, March payroll is when everyone gets the local supplement. And what we've done is we've received a percentage of fund balance compared to the local allocation from all of the school districts that are audited by Smith, Anderson, and Wyke. And we have taken that, and we actually think we can do that with a little bit lower fund balance than what most school districts have. And I can show you this information during finance or even during the general meeting on the 13th. I know we don't want that meeting to run too long. But what we're considering asking for is 12% of our local allocation. And that would put us a little over 1.6 million. And then realize that we're spending down our funding formula over time while we're giving pay increases. And so in a couple years, if we could get that 12%, then we would all have something to shoot for. It should be an amount that we would feel very comfortable with if we had floods or other unexpected events, and it would keep us from going back to the commissioners on a regular basis asking for operating expenses. So those two items, at least on my agenda and Mr. Moorhead's agenda, are scheduled for the meeting on the 21st. And we'll confirm that with you a little later when he confirms that date with me. Any other questions?
Anybody have any questions?
General questions or announcements? Hey, Jill did make it. Did you hear me talking about you? She was talking to Tammy Quinn and all during the flu conversation early in the Christmas break and throughout the Christmas break.
All right.
If there's anything else, to my knowledge, we probably need to go into closed session.
All right. I'm gonna call the meeting to order, and then I'll entertain a motion that we go into closed session.
So moved.
Mr. Francis has made a motion. I hear a second by Dr. Rogers. Any question or discussion? There being none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're in closed session. Meeting adjourned.